Warner Brothers was shelving Coyote versus Acme, the newest hybrid, live-action animated hybrid Looney Tunes movie that James Gunn produced and wrote some of the screenplay on. We're going to star John Cena. They just scrapped it. They didn't just scrap it. They shelved it. They said, we're going to take this movie and we're going to do a tax write-off. We want $30 million for this movie. And that completely lit a fire under Twitter, lit a fire under many filmmakers that scrutinized Warner Brothers for this decision. And it was looking like we were never going to see Coyote versus Acme ever in our lifetime. Well, that might be changing. That might be changing because their feet were held so close to the fire. Warner Brothers has decided to give Coyote versus Acme a second chance at life. This comes to us from Deadline, and they say, exclusive article update. Screenings are now being set up this week, this current week, they might have already had them, for streamers, Amazon Prime, Apple, and Netflix to check out and potentially acquire Warner Brothers' axed Looney Tunes movie, Coyote vs. Acme. After the studio's phone ran off the hook the entire weekend from angry filmmakers and talent reps over their third feature film, killed after Batgirl and Scooby Haunted Halloween. That's not what it says. It says Scoob Holiday Haunt. The more egregious Hollywood sin with Coyote vs. Acme is that it's a finished film and was intended for a theatrical release while the other two movies were still in the works. So, this is honestly great news. And I'm very happy to hear this because I understand that this movie essentially belongs to the studio. I understand that. And I understand that this was made before David Zaslav and his team got in there. And this was made with the old regime. And they can still do whatever they want with it because it's still their movie. If they don't want to show it the light of day, the studio has the right to do that. Although, actually, there was a senator in Texas that I was reading earlier this week that scrutinized Warner Brothers, said that what they were doing was anti-competitive and that it was like burning down your house to get your insurance money. So he wants it actually looked into. But I'm not politically, I don't know much about that, so I'm not going to comment on that. But it does show that Warner Brothers is not just going to get away with these kind of things anymore. Because one of the things about this Coyote versus Acme thing that was really starting to get concerning for me, and I'm sure a lot of people, is when they canned Batgirl. Their explanation for getting rid of Batgirl was, well, this was the old regime. It doesn't fit in with the DCU direction that we're going in. It's not even finished, so we're just going to stop the work on it, get the tax write-off. And it seemed like it didn't seem like a regular thing that they do. It seemed like an out-of-the-box kind of thing, a very unusual thing to happen with these kind of studios. So while it was kind of annoying and a little bit sad to see Batgirl get shelved, it was also kind of understandable, especially when you had people coming out and being like, yeah, we saw it. There was like this graveyard screening for it. It wasn't great. It wasn't very good. So you had word of mouth already coming out that the movie wasn't great and that it was indeed going to hurt the DC brand. Then they did it with Scoob Holiday Haunt, which honestly I forgot they did it with. I don't really care that they did it with Scooby Holiday Haunt. Even though like people worked hard on that, people it's the same kind of thing with Coyote and Acme. People did work hard. People did spend years on it. It's just, it wasn't one that I was necessarily excited for. So they did it with that one. But then they did it with Coyote versus Acme. And when you do it 3 times, it's no longer just out of the blue once in a lifetime thing. Oh, they did it again. No, they did it a third. It's a trend. It's becoming a trend. And it shows that if they're going to do it 3 times, there's no reason why they're not going to do it a 4th. There's no reason why it's not going to be happening with a 5th. And it is disappointing. And it is devastating for the filmmakers that worked so hard on these movies. They go in, they pitch an idea, just praying and hoping that someone picks it up. It gets greenlit. You get the resources to make it. You spend 2 years of your life sacrificing family moments, sacrificing this and that to make this movie, the grueling hours. You got the crew working grueling hours, everyone working so hard to bring this vision to life, and it finally comes to life. And then you go through post-production, and you go through the editing process, and you go through this and that, and you get your movie finished, and it's done, and you have and you just have this feeling of accomplishment. And then for someone to come in, the studio had to be like, we want a tax write-off. We're going to use your movie to do so with. Like, that's crushing. That's crushing for filmmakers, and that's also crushing for future filmmakers. And there was also some stuff going around when this dropped, when Coyote and Acme got canned, that filmmakers were starting to cancel some meetings with Warner Brothers, because how do you trust a studio after that? You know, you come in, you pitch your idea, you work for 2 years, and the whole time in the back of your head, you're probably thinking, well, I'm working so hard on this project, but they could pull it at any moment. Or I could finish this thing and tell my family, hey, I made a movie, it's coming out in theaters, blah, blah, blah. And then they just decide to get a tax write-off with it, and then it never comes out. So I like that Warner Brothers was so scrutinized and they got so much backlash that it basically forced them to kind of give in and be like, all right, we're going to try and sell this movie. Now, the big test is going to be, is this movie going to get bought? Now, I think the movie will, especially if you trust the sources and the people who claim to have seen the movie, coming out and saying it's great, it's awesome, it's everyone cries at the end, like it was getting rave reactions coming out once it got canned. So if you're screening it for Amazon, for Netflix, for all these people, and they're gonna see exactly what those people saw, I do think this movie is gonna get bought. I do think that it's going to see the light of day. But even if it doesn't get bought, and hey, maybe it gets bought, maybe all those people see something in it that we didn't see, and we watch the movie when it comes out and it's total crap, who knows? I'm just glad that this is, number one, allowing these filmmakers to have their project get a second chance at seeing the light of day. I'm glad that Warner Brothers caved and they're taking the chance on this movie. I hope that someone buys it, puts it in theaters, and it makes a crap ton of money, and just in spite of Warner Brothers. But one of the things that I'm also really glad at is this backlash kind of came out and it kind of told Warner Brothers, okay, enough is enough. Enough is enough with this. You did it with Batgirl. You did it with Scoob. You did it with, like, when's it going to stop? Enough is enough. Fans came out in backlash. Filmmakers came out in backlash. A senator in Texas came out and backlashed. Because this is a practice in Hollywood that can't continue on, honestly. I mean, I guess, like, one movie every once in a while getting a tax write-off wouldn't be, like, the worst thing like it was with Batgirl. But because this was becoming a trend, I'm glad that people seem to have recognized that and stopped it in its tracks and said, no, this is not something that we're going to allow studios to just do, to take a filmmaker's work, and just because they think they don't have any faith in it, they're just going to get a tax write-off on it. And that filmmaker's hard work, whether it was good or not, is just going to get dusty on a shelf. Well, thank you very much for checking out this clip from our live show that we do every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time called Zach Milne Talks Live. If you like talking movies, if you like talking movie news, why don't you consider hitting that subscribe button before you leave? We do that on this channel all the time. But if you still need some time before you fully commit, you can check out the full video this clip is from right here, and you can check out another video over here. The subscribe button's right here.